Are you a tired chosen one, earth angel, light worker, star seed? Has your life path got you questioning what's the purpose of continuing? What's the point of going on? If you struggle to find motivation to continue, I'm going to share some things with you in this video that may help. I've recently been connecting with an individual that I've met through social media, and he's been sharing his story with me about how he's struggling to find purpose and motivation to continue after losing a loved one. It's really been taking me back to the things I've gone through. You know, if you're new to my channel, in 2013, I lost my mom to cancer, and I had this sudden spiritual awakening. I looked within, I seen a life full of misery and pain. I looked at who I'd become, and I just felt like healing and changing who I was impossible. And 13 months later, I tried to, and if it wasn't for Archangel Michael, I wouldn't be here. And after a handful of years of healing, I finally felt like I got myself back on solid ground, only to have my 22-year-long relationship slash marriage come to a sudden end after a girls' night out. I found myself selling my beautiful 3-story home, moving back in with my dad, which made me feel like I was moving backwards in time, not forward. And I realized that a job I'd been working at for 20 plus years in the steel industry was no longer capable of supporting me with these new child support payments if I ever wanted to move out and get a place of my own. And having to reinvent myself just felt like something I had absolutely no energy for. My son was getting dropped off crying, telling me how he didn't like this new reality. My ex-wife and the new individual she had brought into her life was just driving me up the wall. And I actually didn't want to be here more in 2019 and 2020 than when I actually tried to leave this place in 2014. I remember coming home from my job and I would just sit in my car in the driveway for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, just staring off into space, sometimes crying. I felt like I was a walking dead person. And since Archangel Michael showed me that leaving wasn't an option, you know, I just felt trapped, and I started to take out all my frustration on my guides and angels. And, you know, it got to a point where I started astral projecting into the universe, trying to have this matrix shut down. So when it comes to not wanting to be here, feeling as if there's no point or purpose on continuing, you know, I'm no stranger. When I look back now compared to where I was then, here's some things that have helped me. You know, if it's a loss of a loved one that has you struggling to find purpose to continue, you have to understand that just because they're gone in the physical doesn't mean they're completely gone. They're just transitioned into a new reality, and they're watching over you. And you being sad and unmotivated to continue is actually making them sad. Just because they're gone, they still want you to be happy. And when you're happy and find the joy in this life, it makes them happy. So if you can't be happy for you, do it for them, because you're actually lowering their vibration when you're staying in this stuck place. Know that they're not gone. Okay, they're sending you love. They're sending people, situations, and experiences into your life to try to snap you out of that funk. Another thing that really motivates me to keep going is when I have individuals like this guy I told you about reach out and share with me his personal struggles, and I'm able to help him get through a tough time that I know that I was once in, and just knowing that I can help him get to a much better place brings me joy and purpose. So if you can get through your struggles, you can find joy in helping other people. I'm going to share a little story with you that kind of ties into everything we're talking about. Being a welder and a fabricator, every once in a while I'd get sent on site, and I got sent to this job in Norman Wells where we had to drive for 5 days, and then we took a helicopter for 45 minutes to get onto this, you know, top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. You know, we're practically in the Arctic. And at the time, some of the things we experienced, it just felt like we were living an absolute nightmare. You know, one time this storm rolled in, the clouds were so thick that we couldn't even see 20 feet in front of us. And the helicopter pilot said he was not able to pick us up. And so we had to make a decision whether we were going to spend the night on that mountain in a thin tent in minus 30 to minus 50 degrees, or hike off the mountain. And we were thousands of feet in the air, and we decided to hike down the mountain despite not knowing if we were going to make it down in time. As we were traveling down that mountain, you know, we came across big puddles of blood on the snow. Some kind of animal had ripped something apart. There was times where we were sliding downhill so steep we had to put our hands out and collect snow to slow ourselves down and hit our feet on trees. And, you know, after like 9 or 10 hours of hiking down this mountain, not knowing what the outcome was going to be, You know, eventually we got down to the very bottom, we lit a flare, and the helicopter pilot was able to find us right before nighttime. Another time the storm rolled in, it was so cold that people were getting frostbitten, their face were turning white. Helicopter pilot picked us up, and when we were about 20 feet off the ground, you know, the window just froze up instantly with ice, and it was so windy, we couldn't see nothing. We weren't sure if we were going to get slammed into the mountain and die. And at the time, it just felt like the absolute worst experience one could imagine. But now looking back, that experience was one of the coolest things that I've been through, because, you know, it's like I made it through that. I did that. That's kind of what this life is like once you transition to the other side. You may have gone through all these hard times, and right now it might feel like you're living in hell. But when you go to the other side and you look back at all the things you made it through, you're going to be proud of yourself. So just try to find the positives in life, find the miracles. You know, on the other side, you can't take hot showers. You can't hold your little Shih Tzu in your hands and get kisses. You know, it's a much different reality on the other side. So just try to enjoy this while you can. Zoom out and realize that your soul's eternal and this life is just a little blimp on the radar. And for those of you who are really on the fence about not wanting to be here, you have to understand that if you do decide to transition on your own because of all the hard things you've been through, you're going to be placed in another reality where it's very similar to the one you just went through, until you can learn to open up your heart and see the positives in it. So you have to ask yourself, do you want all the hardships that you've been through to be for nothing, just to go through it all again? Even though it's difficult, it's much easier to just open up your heart and find the blessings and see how stronger you've become because of the things you've been through. I hope this helps. My name is Ashley Samborski. I'm now offering a remote healing service. You can check out my biography. It's called Finding Me, where I share with you all the things I've been through, what it was like meeting Archangel Michael seconds before I tried to have a custom crystal jewelry line where I use my connections with the angels and Jesus to amp up the energy. It's all available on my website, links in the bio. Hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.